Hey, Warrior Saints. Glad to have you beautiful people with us as we continue our conversation from yesterday. Right? Anyways.
The flood is a stand-in for the monsters that are always lurking around the corner.
Yeah.
The flood is a big, scary monster that is coming that we want to avoid. And the way that we think we're going to avoid those monsters is through comfort. The gym is uncomfortable. Last night, I literally had back pain that kept me up because the trainer had me do leg lifts, and I don't want to lift my legs and have them just hanging in the air. And I looked at my wife,
on the floor.
I was like, my sciatica. I don't even know if I have sciatica, but it hurts and it burns, and we don't want that pain.
Yeah.
We want to avoid those big, scary monsters.
Yeah.
And Dairy Queen sits there as a light, glistening, glimmering, telling me that if I have Dairy Queen, happy tastes good, and I'll be good to go, and I'll be happy, and I'll be doing much better. And then all of a sudden, I'm miserable because I can't move because I never pick my legs up off the ground.
Sure they belong. Legs are grounded. Right? Should have your feet on the floor. But you're absolutely right. And that goes like this whole idea of comfort and ease and take the easy road and don't do hard work and don't suffer. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that's put out there. Nobody, think about this, and you got to tell me, I forgot what it's called. But losing weight, both of us need to lose a few pounds. We're working on it. Both of us are working on it. You're going to the gym. I'm trying to do the same, eat right, so on. But, we always used to say, well, I don't want to do that. I just wish there was a magic pill I could take and, I'd shed pounds. And people for years have been trying to create magic pills.
Yeah. Remember the Oprah pill that used to show up in all of the solitaire games?
Yeah. Actually, yeah. So there you go. And now they came up with this thing, I forget what they call it, semaglutide or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. And so people lose weight with it. And it's a great thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. But the idea is, where's the work in that, right? And even I watched a commercial for it. It's for diabetes, right? That drug. And they're selling it as you lower your A1C. But you know what? You also, people tend to lose 13 to 36 pounds. And I'm like, that's a great benefit. But it's just telling us nobody wants to do the work and the sweat. Like, you're going to the gym. God bless you. Keep going. Do the work because we like the comfort and ease. And that's the stuff that to go back full circle to the beginning of this, that marketing and corporations are throwing at us. You know what I mean?
Even all of those commercials tell you that you could lose 13 to 36 pounds with diet and exercise.
Oh, they do say that.
They do say that. Those things are not selling themselves as a magic pill by themselves. They are telling you. And even the ones that they now have that are not just for diabetes. They take the diabetes medication out of it, and they give you just a regular shot. And they're effective. But you still need to do the other work to really have them be ultimately effective. Otherwise, you're going to plateau. You're going to keep needing more. Yeah. To get the same results, and it stops working. Yeah, I gotcha. And you're totally right. I mean, like, the other part of it too, Deacon Greg, I was thinking about this, like, in the suffering and the struggle of facing monsters and the discomfort, that's where change is made, right? Like that great movie 300 about Leonidas and his 300 soldiers, Spartans who fought, the Persians and blah, blah. In the beginning of the movie, when he's a young kid, they throw him out into the wilderness by himself, naked and alone. He's got to go out in the mountains in the snow and fight a monster. But when he goes and he conquers, and he's probably scared, he probably doesn't want to do it. It's got to be freezing. Like in the imagery, he's in the snow and he's only got a little loincloth on and no shoes, right? Yeah. And he kills the monster. And the very next scene cuts to, what's his name? Gerard Butler, who's like buff and ripped and handsome. So he fights the monster and boom, next scene, he's transformed. I mean, like, that's where it happens. We talked about this. We have it in there in scripture, right? Like after Genesis 1 through 11, which is the creation all the way through Babel and that destruction, it gets then specific. It retells that story through one character and his progeny, Abraham. And Abraham, he is of the Toledot of Terah, right? So he's of the offspring of Terah, his father. And then all of a sudden, what happens? Chapter 12. It's like, think about what he's saying here. So Abraham is from Ur of the Chaldees. Mm-hmm. God yanks him out, sends him over to Haran, and then Haran eventually, which is like Syria area, west modern Syria, and then he's going to throw him into Palestine. And listen, chapter 12, verse 1, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. Now the Lord said to Abram, go from your country and your kindred
and your father's house to the land that I will show you. And I will make of you a great nation, goyim, by the way.
Mhm.
And I will bless you and make your name great so that you will be a blessing, and on and on. And it goes further at the end of verse 3, and by you, all of the families of the earth, which is interesting, ha'adama, the ground, shall bless themselves. So, like, that's a big monster to face, right? Like,
Mhm.
leave your house, your home, everything you know, leave your
Leave
father.
comfort.
Right. And go. And in that, you may see transformation, right?
Yeah.
But he, like Noah, Abraham, like Noah, was committed. He was all in.
Yeah.
And so he goed.
He did.
He went.
He went. It's hard to do that. I got a phone call once asking me if I wanted to move to Arizona.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking Arizona was on the other side of the world, because it was. And that Arizona was a weird place, because it is. There's rattlesnakes. I don't like snakes. I was convinced the first time I came that I was going to die alone in a hotel room, because there was going to be a snake in my air vent that was going to come out and bite me.
No, just on planes.
Yeah, that's a great movie. Anyway, so I took the chance, though. And I left literally where my father was.
Mm.
And I left physically. I wasn't living in his house, but the idea, I left where he was. I left my family, and I went west, and it was crazy. I even passed through the St. Louis Arch, because you have to on your way west. Right?
Yeah.
It's the gateway to the west.
It is.
So,
Yes.
but like, you have to do it. There's a lot of fear. I remember the night before I was driving, I like had this huge panic moment. I was like, what the heck am I doing? What if it doesn't work out? Why am I going? I'm going to be so far from everyone. I'm not going to, like, it's not going to go well. And here we are 11 years later, and it's gotten great.
Yeah.
Multiple kids and a family, and, a 2.5% mortgage rate, and everything's rolling, right? Like, it's gone well. Thank God.
I'm glad, obviously,
Well-
and thrilled and happy and thankful and all that stuff. But I mean, that story is a great indication that, facing your monsters, which is uncomfortable, and doing hard things, which is uncomfortable and goes against the grain of what we're being, spoon-fed, is ultimately life-changing, transformative, right? I mean,
Well, it has to be.
well, you would hope, yeah, right? Like,
Otherwise, what are you doing it for?
yeah, agreed. What are you doing it for? So like Romans, St. Paul says, suffering produces endurance, endurance, character, and character leads to hope, which does not disappoint, right? Like, he says this weird, we rejoice in our sufferings, right? Now he's talking about the suffering for the teaching of the gospel that they faced in the early Roman Empire, which is different than you and I going to the gym. But the message, the overarching message, I think is still valid and applies,
Without question.
And think about what happened with Abraham and Isaac. Right.
Mhm.
So again, the story. I mean, he couldn't have kids and so on.
Yeah. And I mean, he's told to take his son, go up a mountain, and basically you're going to have to sacrifice your son. Well, he's not told to sacrifice his son yet. He's told, go up to the mountain. No, he is. He's told, you're going to have to sacrifice your son. He's going up to the mountain. And imagine you're taking your son up the mountain, and your son is asking you questions like, where's the ram? Where is the sacrifice that we're making? The son knew he was going to make this, that they were going to make an offering to God, right? But he just was looking for what that offering was going to be. And it gets to the point we hear in chapter 22, verse 10, Abraham put forth his hand, and he took the knife to slay his son. This icon is on the icon screen at the church my mom grew up in, and it's right next to the chanter stand. And it used to freak me out, because you've got an altar table, a tied up little boy, and an old dude with a knife like this about to slay the kid.
Yeah.
And it's called the sacrifice of Isaac.
Yeah.
But as we know, the story goes on, and the angel comes and says, you have listened to God. You can, your son is spared. Here's a ram.
Yeah. I mean, it's whether that story is actual, historical event or not, the message of that story is telling us what? Like, this guy, Abraham, and he had already done some bad things.
Yeah.
He like earlier in chapter 12, God says, all right, let's go, get out of your father's house and follow me. And then all of a sudden he goes to into Egypt, and there's this king, and he's like, hey, he tells his wife, Abraham, he's like, hey, you're hot. That's in the Bible, by the way.
Yeah.
My translation is probably bad, but he says, "You're a good-looking woman. They're gonna kill me because of you, so they can have you. Tell them you're my sister, so they'll save me." And so the Pharaoh, Caesar, no, it's not the Pharaoh. That happens the second time actually. It's Abimelech. He says, "All right, bring that woman here because it's his sister." And then all of a sudden he gets like plagues all over him. He's like, what's going on? And he says, well, oh, that's Abraham's wife. Why didn't you tell me? Like, so Abraham harloted his wife so that he didn't have to get in any trouble, right? He didn't want to deal. He wanted comfort and ease. He didn't want to face it. So he'd already done bad. Now, all of a sudden, we're in chapter 22, and it's really, he's called out because he wanted this son. He couldn't have any children. His wife was barren, all that stuff. And boom, he's got this beautiful son, Isaac, and kill him, and so on. And he finally said, all right, it's uncomfortable. It's hard. I'm willing to do this. And he, Abraham, though he was willing, he was now in this instance willing to go all the way to the end to do God's commandments. And as an offspring of that, God provides, an outcome of that, God provides. He preserves the life of Isaac, and he gives him a ram with which to, replaces the sacrifice. So God provide the sacrifice. And interesting about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, fascinating. Isaac's the key figure, not Abraham and not Jacob. Abraham was born outside the land, dies in the land. Jacob was born in the land, dies in Egypt outside the land. Only Isaac was born in the land, never leaves the land, and dies in the land. Yep. And he's the one whom Paul says in Galatians 5, or at the end of 4 and 5, we are children of Isaac, children of the promise. I mean, he's the key figure. So, because Abraham was willing to go all the way, this son that was preserved is boom. Hey, Warrior Saints, thank you so much for being with us. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, and share. It helps us get the word out there. And if you want more, visit us at warriorsaints.org and subscribe to Understanding the Bible. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.